The Wonderful World of Darklords. Report 5. Halloween Town. When I came to my senses, I was surrounded by the darkness of the sack, moving in a way that suggested that I was being carried by some four-legged beast. I prepared to cut myself free with a dagger when my conveyance stopped, the sack opened, and I was greeted by a sight like a most improbable dream. The buildings around me were in dull grays and blacks, skewed into bizarre angles and curves, and milling about them were monsters of every description. A werewolf, a family of walking dead, a bat with the sweet voice of a child, and more. They were in the process of erecting a circus tent, albeit one rendered in shades of black and orange, and overseeing the proceedings was a skeleton, its body so spindly as to defy belief. Its clothing was simple and utilitarian, and it wore a sword at its hip. I was suddenly put in mind of a traveling carnival I had seen many years ago, and of the woman who governed it. Was this her skeleton? Before I could wonder about this too much, my captors began shouting excitedly to the skeleton, calling him Jack, and saying they had found a magic act for the carnival. This was my introduction to Halloween Town, a land whose jaded king will try on any role for a moment's diversion, but whose ultimate idea of entertainment, to humans, is disturbing at best and deadly at worst. The Lord. The citizens of Halloween Town fawn over their pumpkin king, Jack Skellington. Jack is wildly emotional, swinging from the heights of manic joy to the depths of despair, depending on the progress of his latest project. From the few coherent statements I was able to glean between the citizens' bursts of breathless, rapturous praise, Jack is some sort of spirit or fae, embodying festivals of autumn, death, and the harvest. He has, however, grown bored with this role and is constantly trying out new ones, with the Mistress of Carnival as his latest pursuit. The town's mayor confided that Jack sometimes sends his 3 cronies to capture the people he impersonates so that he can replace them, and I can see why he decided discretion was the better part of valor in this particular case. I confess that the ceaseless gaiety of the townsfolk both rankled and puzzled me. No matter how much frivolity we insert into these harvest festivals, they are dark and dangerous times at heart, where fae, fiends, and the undead lurk far too close for comfort. None of that darkness was evident in Halloween Town during the preparations, and it seemed almost obscene to turn such a baleful time into a night of frolic. However, at one point I heard my 3 kidnappers whispering about another, more vicious spirit called Oogie Boogie. From what I would later witness, Oogie has all the murderous cruelty that Jack and his admirers seem to lack, although his freedom to indulge in these proclivities suggests that Jack does not entirely disapprove of them. The Land. After a few days of madcap preparation, which involved teaching 4 fastidious vampires to swing from a trapeze, using alchemical concoctions to hide the mayor's reflection, and pressing a doll-like construct into sewing dozens of circus tents, as well as drilling me in Jack's expectations for my conscripted magic act. A mist rose around Halloween Town, and when it cleared, we were in Richemouleau's capital city of Pont-à-Mousseau. The city was between outbreaks of the Naws. Thank the gods for small favors. But those who came expecting a jolly carnival would probably have preferred a few weeks of quarantine. The less that is said of the audience participation in the snake handler and fire eater acts, the better. Although most of the monstrous performers seemed oblivious to the spectators' terror, a few seemed to delight in it, and I noticed my 3 kidnappers performing subtle acts of sabotage to make the routines more frightening and dangerous to the humans who were forced to watch them. I am reasonably certain that more than 2/3 of the people who entered the Hall of Horrors were supposed to leave it with their limbs intact, and I know for a fact that my hat was supposed to contain a rabbit and not a miniature hellhound. I didn't even know they came in toy breeds. The 3 children, a thoroughly unpleasant clown, and a hulking undead figure occasionally escorted one of the wounded toward a crooked treehouse on the outskirts of town. None of them ever came back, and by the end of my unwilling visit, I discovered why. Dread possibilities. Eventually, the mimic that had replaced my disappearing box decided it was tired of eating one victim at a time and began rampaging around my tent, and I used the distraction to cast invisibility and slip away. I knew that speaking to the Pumpkin King would likely end with me on stage again, and that my ultimate destination from there could well be the treehouse, so instead I took advantage of the opportunity to spy on him. The terror of the spectators caused him neither distress nor sadistic glee. Instead, he chortled over how much they were all enjoying themselves, even as the mirror maze turned their hair white with fear, and he genuinely seemed to believe it. Perhaps the horror of the Harvest Festival is alive and well in Halloween Town after all. I could not consider my survey complete until I investigated the treehouse, so I crept there while still under the protection of invisibility. From a pit near its roots, I heard shrieks of terror, loud clockworks, and, of all things, rolling dice, with gibbering laughter over it all. The air was rich with the scent of a hearty, meaty stew, leaving little doubt as to the victim's ultimate fate. While Jack is unaware of how much his actions terrify humans, Oogie knows, and revels in it. Parting thoughts. I do not know if I have ever felt so much relief upon leaving a domain as I did upon leaving Halloween Town. Maleficent's evil was terrifying, Scar's petty cruelty was destructive, but I would almost prefer either to Jack's joyfully alien mindset. The other lords knew themselves to be doing evil. The Pumpkin King believes himself to be a bringer of wonder and delight, even as the recipients of his whimsy beg him for mercy. When I at last entered the mists near the treehouse, my icicle mist talisman numbed my hand, but I didn't mind. The cold never bothered me anyway. Regards, D.
Though this report was not requested, my little scholar's devotion to her research has not gone without notice. If this king ever attempts to abscond with what is mine, he will experience the full extent of my displeasure. The magic tutelage bestowed upon you was not meant for parlor tricks. While Jack forces his people to participate in senseless festivities, Oogie Boogie appears to grasp the true spirit of what once was Halloween Town. It is no true revelation that this Pumpkin King's ceaseless pursuit of mimicking the role of another has created divided loyalties among his people. After all, it is often the people that suffer when their ruler forgoes responsibilities in favor of debauchery. Skellington operates on delusions of grandeur, yet there are signs of awareness of what he once was. For one, his laughter at the gruesome displays is akin to the evolution of autumn festivals. Perhaps a bit of his original spirit remains. For another, his willingness to turn a blind eye to the fate of those he has captured may act as a sacrifice, as their most likely fate is incorporation into Oogie Boogie's stew. I do wonder if Jack possesses the ability to retain one such as Isolde outside of her own carnival. If so, he may be more than a mere maniacal nuisance.
This has been The Wonderful World of Darklords. We have no affiliation with Disney or Wizards of the Coast. All music recordings used in this episode are in the public domain and were obtained through museopen.org. Titles and links are in the show notes. Dialogue for Yensid was written by Aslan Rex himself, who you can follow on Tumblr at DarklordAslan. The Wonderful World of Darklords logo was designed by Haylight Jones. You can find links to their work in the show notes. If you'd like to support the show, look for us on patreon.com or find our tip jar on Red Circle. Thanks for listening.